Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome here to Raleigh, North Carolina's Lower Method Road Fields for today's MCLA men's lacrosse matchup between the North Carolina State Wolfpack and the University of South Florida Bulls. South Florida is coming off of an arduous road trip right in the middle of it. They played East Carolina last night and lost 10-8, and tomorrow they will head to play Western Michigan, ending their northern road trip before heading back down to Tampa. For NC State, it's going to be a battle of trying to win it out in the cold. State has always prided themselves on having an excellent club lacrosse team. Should be a great matchup. Stay tuned. You're watching Wolfpack Sports Television, bringing you into the pack. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Raleigh, North Carolina. Method Road Field is the site for the lacrosse matchup between the North Carolina State Wolfpack and the University of South Florida. It should be a barn burner here, a rare Friday matinee for NC State as we're prepared for the face-off up at center. Our last broadcast was also a lacrosse game. It was the women's team, so they took on Elon in a resounding victory by a final count of 14-8. Officials appear to be ready to set the ball down for the draw. And away we go, scooped up initially by NC State, but it'll be the Bulls to take control first. Intercepted up and around the midline, taken quickly back forward by NC State. Stick slash right out of the hands of the Wolfpack, all is legal. Move back quickly forward, and NC State will have control of the ball here. And this will be walked right back into the zone by NC State, and they'll try to set up for their first real offensive possession of the game. It's Michael Mastriani to make the plays. Now NC State will start their setup. Wheeled all the way across to John Duncan, and he'll put it right back down low. A little bit of movement by NC State back behind the net as they'll trade places. Working again toward the front, pass right to center. It'll be steered right back out. NC State controlling once more. Held and pushed out. Duncan on his way, tried to send the pass out. It'll be South Florida to go grab it almost immediately, but it'll go out of bounds first. Bulls will have possession. South Florida setting it up now. They'll wheel it around the outside. Moved all the way back in into the midfield now. And really, for those of you lacrosse fans at home, you're going to notice this. Unlike ice hockey, you're going to see a whole lot of passing right around the exterior and on the perimeter before any type of interior motion is made. Pulled back to the outside. They'll go to the side of the goal now. South Florida will work. Trying to steer back behind the cage now. A lot of hacking and whacking going on. Pulled back free. South Florida will escape now. Back into the midfield, despite the fact they do have a few attackmen up and forward, positioning for what could be a shot. It's intercepted by NC State. And it'll be the Wolfpack to steer it back in the other direction. With speed, here come the Wolfpack. And they'll set it up right back on the side of the goal now, trying to move it into a scoring area. It's deflected away. State controlling here, fielding. Pulls it out. Opportunity brewing for NC State once again. Superb passing thus far this game. The one error NC State did make putting the ball in the air was because of a takedown. All legal, of course. State will hold here. Moved right back behind the net once more. State trying to slow the pace of play down. South Florida seemed like they wanted to hurry the ball a little bit in their last offensive possession. Now NC State really starting to fire it around the horn. Trying to get back into a scoring area. There was a chance. Picked back up on the Wolfpack. Thrown at the net. And it just goes wide. That will go out of bounds. First scoring opportunity for either team of the game. And it was forged just wide of the cage. Really got to pay attention there. Adam Johnson in the number 20 uniform was the one who spurned all that offensive attack. Off the deflection off of the Bulls, it'll be Johnson once again, and he'll put it right back down low. State continuing to move, now looking to get something toward the front. Looked like State might want to try to finagle a shot onto the net there. That was Miller Barber. This will be pulled out once again. NC State in the white uniforms, black numericals with the red trim on the outside, black shorts. South Florida in the green, the gold numericals and the white shorts. State will hold it once again. It'll be Barber to carry this one forward. Putting it all the way up and ahead, easily steered away. We have our first save of the game by the South Florida netminder. Thrown up and forward. South Florida's turn to go on the attack. Trying to scoop something up and forward at midfield. Intercepted again by NC State. It's been a great defensive effort thus far by the Wolfpack. Taking ahead here. State will set up behind the net once again. That's Jeff Williams holding. Williams, being hound dog from behind, loses the ball. And this will be South Florida's turn to grab possession off of the turnover once again. Bulls will cycle right back behind the net. Slight pressure from behind. They'll move it up and into the midfield. Here come the Bulls. Move quickly forward. It'll be their turn to set things up. More pressure coming from back behind. Gotta love the intensity of the NC State defense so far, at least. And carried back in here. That's Wallenfelds trying to move it back out. Ground ball play back for Wallenfelds. He's going to let it drift back behind the net. South Florida may have something brewing on the corner if they can hurry. Good move there, but there was a fall down on the slipping turf. So we'll see the flag thrown. We'll see the penalty play made here. Flag went up almost immediately after one of the Bulls players took a slip. And of course, it is very slick out here. There was a slight drenching last evening, so the field conditions may not be as ideal as one would like. But off the flag, South Florida will continue their offensive attack. Moved right back behind the cage here. Up to the point. There's a long shot. They scored! Great shot there. As it finds its way into the back of the net, it'll be Nathan Granger, the team captain for South Florida, to draw first blood. And the Bulls are off and running with an early 1-0 lead over the Wolfpack. And that's what you talk about. You have to be disciplined when you are defending. NC State was not. They take the penalty. South Florida makes some pay. A shot in the realm of 10 to 15 yards out. A sizzler. So now we'll go right back to the draw at center, and NC State is going to have to come from behind. This will be pulled back, and it'll be the Wolfpack off the draw again. Big collision. NC State maintains possession. Another big hit. Ball is loose. NC State, ball being practically triple teamed. We'll go all the way back down. You hear the cheers of the fairly large South Florida constituency here today. Spun right back down low. NC State holding. He'll circle the wagons once again. All sorts of pressure being applied. State coaching staff trying to draw something up here. Once again, Adam Johnson, and he'll let it drift all the way back behind. Quick pass from attack to attack back behind as Johnson continues to circle back in front. State trying to get something toward the middle. Good shot, blocked off by the South Florida defense. And eventually scooped up by the netminder. In net for the Bulls today is Trent Abel, and thus far he's been more than able to keep NC State off the scoreboard. Taken back and onto the Bulls' defensive line here, and they'll just try to walk this one up. Carried it through the zone, some pushing and shoving. Despite the fact the players aren't as particularly well padded as they would be in football or ice hockey, you can bet that lacrosse is a very physical sport. Ball drifted out of bounds on the previous play, so it'll be South Florida to take possession. And right now, the Bulls are really having their way with NC State. This is Chandler Bernard, and he will immediately retreat back behind, defended by his long stick midfielder. A lot of hacking and whacking right up and on the wrists. Bernard avoiding the pressure, finds a teammate, lost the ball, could be a turnover here. NC State grabs it. Right off the grass, some more pushing and shoving. State trying to pull it forward. Ground ball is scooped up, some more physicality right up the midfield line. NC State manages to hold possession right now as they'll battle continually right by the South Florida sideline. And the hand is up. And it is going to be NC State's ball as it drifts out of bounds. Superb pressure there, and that defensive effort by the Wolfpack may have saved them from going down a deuce here early. Johnson wheels it up to the top here. This will be Michael Mastriani. Gives that one off to a teammate, spun right back down low for Johnson. And he'll put it onto the back line once more. South Florida coaching staff seems to be happy with the defensive effort thus far, as well as they should be. NC State has only afforded themselves one scoring opportunity, and it was not really that spectacular. A shot goes sailing wide of the far side post. And that's been the summary of NC State's offense. Good passing around the perimeter. Could be an attack opportunity here if they hurry. Right toward the net, they scored. NC State will knot things up. That shot coming from Simmons, I believe. So NC State does manage to notch it up on their second scoring opportunity of the game. And if they can continue that type of efficiency, it should be a good afternoon for the Wolfpack. And that's another thing NC State may want to stop and passing around so much. If they can go ahead and find a good shot lane, they're going to want to take it and take it fairly early. NC State has it off the draw again, and the attack continues. Johnson holding here, finds his teammate back behind. Pulled along the side now. Could be a chance. Wrap around toward the front. Johnson holding, fighting after it. He's got a whole lot of people on him. Johnson down to his knees. Couldn't get the shot off. Ball rolls well back behind of Abel. And onto the side, it'll be the Bulls to take it. South Florida pulling it up. A couple of double team pressure coming. Hacking and whacking from behind. Pulled up and forward, and South Florida's turn to go back on the attack. Continue to look, it really has been a superb effort by both teams. Granted, in the very early stages of this game, South Florida will opt to slow things down here. Granger, the goal for South Florida, and he's circling out there once again. Chandler jockeying for position in the front. Pulled around once again. All sorts of pressure being applied. This one lifted high up in the air, back onto the midfield. Granger holding here. Sending it right back down low toward a scoring area. Pulled free by NC State, though. And they'll run it right back up the field. Could be a chance for the Wolfpack if they hurry. They're going to opt to slow things down. Wanted a penalty. They're going to get it. It's a free possession for NC State as that one goes sailing over the head of one of the attackers down low. But the flag will prevent South Florida from getting the ball. That's one of the intricacies of the men's game. You're not going to see the immediate whistles for the illegalities, but instead you'll see the flag, and until South Florida gains possession of the ball, there will be no whistle. So it functions as a free possession for NC State. Picked up by the Wolfpack. Moved around back behind the net. Some passing now finally toward the front. Could be a chance here. The shot goes wide. Another sizzler just came firing off the stick of one of the NC State forwards. It was Miller Barber once again trying to push himself up and forward, and he was unable to do so. State will cycle around the outside once again. This one flung out wide. Push down low. Here's an opportunity toward the front. Johnson tried to get a shot on. We're going to see another flag, so it's a free possession for NC State. And they'll start it out behind. Miller Barber holding with it once again. Barber now cycling, trying to turn. Dekes his way out of some defensive pressure. Pulled back onto the line now. Up at the midfield. State will hold. Now to Johnson once again. We called his name often. Pressured as Johnson continues to try to pull free of some pressure. Fires that one right back up the field here. Great offensive presence by NC State thus far. Devin Peters lets this one go back. Could be another chance for NC State. Back for Peters. To his knees he went. NC State now attacking right toward the goal. Shot on. Abel managed to get something onto it, and finally South Florida gains possession. But they will only have it up in their stick for a very few brief moments as NC State will grab it off the flag once more. 1 minute remaining here in this first quarter of play. It's thus far been a fairly low-scoring affair. Both teams knotted up at one apiece. State will have it out wide off the flag. And immediately they'll pull it back into the midfield. Barber firing over to the side now as this will continually be played forward. Moved right back toward the front, now onto the back line once more. Held by NC State, working around here. Hack and whack time down low. Pressure was applied to Peters as he's forced to move it right back down low. Couple players will trade positions in the attack. Moved on to the side and chipped back down low. Adam Johnson went to cycle back behind the net to Peters. Up at the top again. Could be an opportunity brewing for NC State. Devin Peters, pressured from behind, alleviates the pressure out for Duncan. Move back down low. NC State scooping one toward the net. It goes wide, and that will drift out of bounds. NC State will hold possession once again. Johnson cycles around the outside. Here's a long shot and a bouncer. Out of bounds once again. NC State will hold. Back even after the penalty time's over. Devin Peters holding here. Moved over and onto the side. Good movement by NC State and hasn't produced all that much offense with the lone goal. Right back down low. Johnson sending it back behind once again. On the outside now, time to dance around. That's Jeff Williams. Williams pressured, moves it on to the midfield. Pulled back once again. Now down low for Johnson. Couple of sidestepping moves, and he'll move it back once more. NC State, solid ball movement. Up at the point, Barber now. Walking toward a scoring area, pressured. May have pulled the defense just enough out of the way. Could be a chance here. Spin shot, and they scored! He sure did. Miller Barber made that play by juking a couple players out. NC State was able to get an on-man situation down low, and they will take the lead on that play 2-1. And you got to appreciate the moves right there. Barber essentially quarterbacks that play. So right back up to center for the draw, and now it's South Florida's turn to have to come from behind as we're locked in a dogfight right now, 2-1 NC State. Ball is set, and away we go. Both players digging right after it, and this will be pulled free by NC State. And they could continue the rush here. Quickly up for Johnson. He'll push it on to the back line for Williams. They'll find their teammates. NC State will get a couple of subs right back on. They'll hold the ball back behind. Moved across the way once again. Peters fires it all the way over to the outside now. Move back up top. And taken right back down low on the pole by Pablo Ebling. State will walk here. Pulled out free by Duncan. Pressure applied from behind right onto Devin Peters' wrists. He'll escape from it. Peters, one of the few brave souls out here not to wear much else than a standard lacrosse uniform. We're hovering somewhere in the realm of 38 degrees right now. Really wind howling is going to feel more like around freezing, quite honestly. The sun is shining, so it's a beautiful day weather-wise, but temperature-wise, could certainly be left wanting a little bit more warmth in the middle of March. NC State will get it off of the penalty. They'll set. And a few seconds of shorthanded time coming for the Wolfpack. Peters holding. Looked like he thought about shooting there. Instead has to trade places here. Moved up to the top once again. NC State continues to cycle. Moved across once more. Onto the stick of Peters. He'll fling this one back up toward the top. NC State continues to cycle around the perimeter. Could be a chance here. Right at the doorstep. Johnson sends a shot. Rebound opportunity, and it goes wide. Johnson may have had one too many passes there, and that may have ended up costing him. Had an open shot to that far side corner. Looked like he had Peters there as well and opted for the pass instead of the shot. And in this case, it is not the prudent decision. So South Florida will be the beneficiary of an opportunity coming their way, and quickly at that. The Bulls go back even after the penalty time's expired. Big body check laid coming right through the center. Ball is pulled free. It is South Florida who will control, at least for the time being. Finally able to get some speed up through the midfield. NC State had held him back behind for a good few minutes. This one flung all the way across. Wallenfeld sends that one down low. That shot is sent well wide of the net. South Florida, of course, maintaining possession. Bulls will set up. 10 seconds remaining in this first quarter. At least that's the word we're hearing from the far side benches. Unlike the women's game, the men's teams will sit up on the far side, as you can see on your cameras. Moved across the way here. South Florida will try to set up for something, and they're just going to retreat and let time wind out on this quarter. And that is where the whistle will blow. So at the end of the first, it's been a fairly defensive battle up to this point, but NC State was able to get one more tally through the opening stages of this one. We'll step aside for a moment with the score. NC State 2, South Florida 1. You're watching NC State Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television. Coming out of the end of the first quarter break, NC State leading South Florida by a count of 2-1. Goaltenders will switch ends before halftime, and we're ready to reset the clock for a fresh second quarter and an end to this first half. NC State will have possession, brought quickly ahead by Ebling once again. He'll be thwarted around center, double-teamed, finally pulled free. Had one of his midfielders calling for the ball, and he's not going to get it. Pulled all the way back, and NC State will go right back on the setup. John Duncan up to the point once again. And NC State will just opt to hold. Devin Peters, we've called his name a lot already today. Barber now sends that one down low. Adam Johnson has transitioned from playing more to that side wing position, and he's going to be the quarterback from back behind now. At least that seems what Coach Demarest is going after. Moved around by NC State. They'll just opt to circle the wagons here. This is Loria with it. Loria trying to get something near that near side goalpost. He's going to have to pull it back out. Now Johnson wheels it up to the top once more. Held here, Devin Peters trying to get something forward on an attack. May have to push it back, and so does. Wheeled around, NC State trying to find something toward the front. A little bouncer scooped up by Trent Abel. So he will keep his team's deficit at 1 for the time being, eludes some pressure, and now he'll be able to jog quickly forward. You really got to give South Florida credit. They've kept themselves in this game consistently, but they're going to have to do a little bit better job than that. It was a poor pass up through neutral territory. And we will see one team go short-handed. I'm just not sure which one it's going to be. As the flag was thrown in the back play, the official was crying that the ball was loose, so those hack and whack plays are nullified at that point, and it's going to be NC State's ball in possession off of the penalty. So 1 minute of shorthanded time coming for South Florida. This will be spun out wide, and NC State will move this one around the horn. Duncan sending it up to the point. Barber, once again, quarterbacks to the back for Laria. Held up the line here. Laria trying to go back and help. Johnson right now doing a fairly good job holding it off by himself, but an errant pass is taken by the South Florida goaltender, Abel. And now it could be the Bulls' opportunity, and they'll just kill some time here with some passing. Chase from behind. The ball is poked free from Abel, who will go right back and scoop it. Channeling his best Manuel Neuer, for those of you soccer fans, coming well out of his goal crease just to try to make those plays. Lofty pass was intercepted right back in the State defensive zone. Battle ensues for the ball, picked up by NC State for the time being at least. Now finally poked forward. It'll be the Wolfpack to bring it ahead. They'll set it up. Barber onto the outside now. State will try to dance it toward the center. Pulled right back out, and they'll continue to go around the horn with it. Move right back behind as we'll go even once more. Good job by South Florida, really throughout the entirety of this game, to kill off their time shorthanded. Miller Barber moves it around the horn once again. Ebling sends it over. State will work on the far side now. Back up to the midfielder, Ebling. They'll dance around the outside. Ebling going side to side, now has to pull back and free. Taken across. Down low, now moved across for Adam Johnson once again. Johnson will hold and moves this one up. Ebling. Sliding it across, Miller Barber, some fancy footwork there. Flings one toward the net and wide. NC State holds possession. Quick whistle blown here. Not sure what that one was for, but play will halt. And everything was set and all right, so away we go once more. Really, you got to look at this. NC State is asserting their dominance just by their passing, if nothing else. Yes, it is still a very close game. Looked like that was a shot attempt coming off of Jeff Williams' stick, but was not one that was well played by any stretch of the means, as he missed it by a mile. State will hold here. Laria opts to cut back upfield. Could be a chance here. He scores! Laria fired one on a quick snapshot, and it'll be 3-1. NC State doubles the lead. I don't think anybody saw that one coming. Laria has been a pass-first player really throughout the entirety of this game, and he took matters into his own hands there. So South Florida backs up against the wall for now. They're going to need to find some offense, and quickly at that. So we go right back up to center for the draw once more. Couple of roster changes for NC State. Trying to give the starters some rest. Mastriani back into the game for the time being, and he will go right after it. South Florida tried to scoop it up. They were unable to. It was Mastriani coming back in from the wing to grab it, as he'll work it out wide. NC State continues to go on the attack. And another goal here really could put NC State soaring above South Florida. Miller Barber holding, and he's played, I believe, every minute of this contest, if I'm not mistaken. Johnson was dispossessed and all legal. South Florida did not touch that, so considering it was not a shot, the Bulls will take it. And it'll start by giving it to the goaltender, Trent Abel. Abel quickly up and forward, and he'll fling this one back wide. Still technically on the defensive line, but this will move quickly forward for South Florida as they'll try to fling one all the way back down. Bulls will work this one across. Wallenfels has been the main source of offense, or at least the quarterback of most of these plays, and he'll opt to send this one down low. Chipped along as South Florida continues. Moved around the horn. The Bulls find Wallenfelds once again. Here he goes, trying to move something to the front. They scored! What a passing play! Wallenfelds found his man all the way ahead and forward. And I believe that one is going to be accredited to Brian Fielding. He was the last one to touch it. He got free of everybody. Wallenfelds threads the needle, and South Florida cuts the deficit in half. And that will force NC State to make the appropriate adjustments for right now. They'll get a few new fresh legs onto the field. So now it is 3-2 in favor of NC State, as the ball will be set down low once again. And it was an illegal move up ahead by NC State, so that will force South Florida to gain possession. And that's something NC State can't afford to do. You get those false starts in the draw area. Pulled out free once again. Fielding was the last one to touch it, as now South Florida works around the horn once again. Really got to love the effort of South Florida. They've not given up. And, of course, and never in lacrosse should you, even being down in the early stages. There's still another half to play, and South Florida can really start to make a difference here. Swipe that toward the net. He let it rip, and they scored. Another one worked out wide. And South Florida, just as soon as you can snap your fingers, has tied this one back up. An absolute rocket comes off of the stick of Joseph Galuppi. Another one of the co-captains on this South Florida team, and the Bulls have knotted things back up at 3. And honestly, that one's a little bit surprising. It was an off-angle shot. Galuppi just absolutely fired a rocket, and it manages to find the right place and goes in. It's pulled around, and away they go. NC State, big-time body contact. The flag is high up in the air. Free possession for South Florida. NC State grabbed it, but it'll be shorthanded time for the Wolfpack. Seems like NC State may have hit the self-destruct button early and through the middle stages of this second quarter. And that is highly unfortunate, because just as they were playing so well, South Florida will take it. Moved all the way around the outside. Fielding. He does have a goal this game. He scored the second tally for South Florida. He's going to get it again. Moved right up front. Bouncing ball, loose on the ground. NC State will try to scoop that one up. Hit from behind by Wallenfelds. And away he goes. Wallenfelds sends that one high up in the air. It eluded his teammate's stick. This will roll all the way onto the sideline, and NC State will take it. Fortuitous bounce for the Wolfpack, as that may stop the bleeding for now. Moved right up into the midfield. NC State's going to take it. Devin Peters with some speed. Looked like he may have wanted to fling that one right back behind the net. Unable to do so for the time being. Wheeled around once again. Peters finds a teammate. This will be back on the midfield line for the time being. Ebling out of the far side, and he'll hold. Dances through a couple of players. Ebling making a beeline toward the net. Tried the ground bounce shot, and that did not work. It goes out of bounds. NC State holds possession. Great opportunity by Ebling, and the bouncer just goes wide. John Duncan now, all the way back up to the top. South Florida right now content to stay back on their heels. Not really too much pressure on defense. Jeff Williams holding here, trying to make a beeline toward the net. It's going to be scooped up by Trent Abel, and he'll go ahead and start the rush in the opposite direction. Away goes South Florida.
Nice pass.
Bulls moving it quickly up and forward here, right up the midfield. For the first time this game, it certainly seems like South Florida has the upper hand. Moved all the way back behind the net here. Whistle blows from outside, and we will see a timeout called by South Florida. That's going to give us a quick break. We'll step aside for the time being with the score, NC State 3, South Florida 3. Back after the timeout break, you're watching NC State Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television. After the timeout, the adjustments seem to have been made from the South Florida sideline. NC State will be the last team to break the huddle here, trying to get their last few roster teams out.
There you go.
And it will be a delay of game shorthanded penalty.
Too deep.
Measure stick time is, looks like the stick measurement has been called. Adam Johnson is the player in question for the time being, and it has been called illegal. Of course, that's something that you'll see more often in lacrosse. The option is there in ice hockey, but rarely used in the collegiate league. And of course, the major measurements on the lacrosse stick is it too wide or is it too deep in the meshing? And you'd be surprised. I mean, lacrosse is not unlike football in the sense when it comes to those stick heads, can be a game of inches and millimeters even. South Florida will have possession more toward their offensive zone. And away they'll opt to go. Cycling around here. Fielding will hold. He'll try to look for something. Has to work around the outside. Wallenfelds again. Sending it back for Fielding. On the line once more, back for Fielding now. Still working, just playing pitch and catch. Finally more toward the front of the net. Pulled free. Pass is bobbled. NC State going after it. South Florida scoops it forward. What a play. Absolutely great reach up and forward by Ryan Dwyer, as he saved the turnover there with a one-handed scoop pass. All the way back down low for Brian Fielding now. Cycles that one across the wagons. Galuppi going back across the way, Fielding for Galuppi. Sends that one up to the point. Wallenfeld's turn. Jumping, shooting one! Wallenfeld scores! What a shot! Elevated himself up into the air and flung one into the lower corner, and South Florida has the lead again. You just simply cannot say enough about Grant Wallenfeld right now. He's been by far the player of the match. And just like that, South Florida has scored 3 unanswered on the Wolfpack. And that's a very difficult one to swallow. Trent Abel has been so solid in net as well, and you cannot discount the value of a goaltender. For NC State, just the net mining hasn't quite been there, and that may be the frustrating portion. It's Nicholas Marcelino, who's labeled as the backup, who's in net today. Another shot again. That one rings off the crossbar. South Florida really unabated attack right now. They smell blood in the water. Worked around, another one swung out wide of Marcelino. Comes all the way back. Brian Fielding now will hold. Lifts this one high up and into the air. Moved along once again. Could be a shot forward right off the tip of Marcelino's stick, as he's right back with his head in the game after a stop like that. You cannot discount the value of a goaltender, especially in lacrosse, as we've mentioned before. And Marcelino reinserts himself back into the game. Granger, let it go out wide. Wallenfeld sends that one down for Fielding once again. Hops in and out of the meshing of his stick. And pulled back free. South Florida Bulls fans over here on to my right in the broadcast booth, most certainly pulling for the offense to continue, and it may right here. But it's going to be pulled free on the offensive illegality. NC State's turn to possess. Moved up quickly. NC State will hold. John Duncan sends that one down low. Lauria trading places back behind. Gets a little bit of a screen from Williams. As now he'll possess. Williams for Devin. Moved down low by Devin Peters once again to Williams. Back for Peters. He'll dance on the wing. Fakes it going forward. Williams pressured on the line, sends that one across the way once again. Jeff Williams playing the trading places game. He's got Loria back behind. Pressured, opts not to go to Loria. We're going to see a slash as the flag goes up. Chance in front, they scored! Jeff Williams right toward the front of the net, sent it over the shoulder of Trent Abel, and that one's going to count as NC State ties it. Simply spectacular work by the Wolfpack. The trading places game back behind the net confuses the South Florida D, and that will allow the scoring area to be open as Jeff Williams knots everything back up at 4. Time winding down in this half. Of course, the flag was thrown. So it'll be a very short stint. Short-handed time as we'll go right back up to center for the draw. Officials having a quick conference here. And Adam Johnson onto one knee after the stick incident. He seems to be all settled and ready to go with everything fixed. The ball is set up and ready for the draw with a score 4-4. As it commences, NC State grabs it and away they go. John Duncan pulls it back once again. Loria moves back behind the net once again. Loria works his way toward the front. Could be an opportunity there. Loose ball. That'll be scooped back up by the Bulls and away they go. South Florida will hold. They'll move it back onto the defense. Trent Abel now will direct traffic from his goal. Abel, a good few yards out, catapults that one all the way up and forward, intercepted by the Wolfpack. Away they come. NC State may have numbers going forward if they hurry. Jeff Williams, who right now has tied the game for NC State, pulls it back onto the line. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the end of the half. It will be. Looked like it was originally signaled as a timeout, but we will take a short break here. At least I believe we will be. Yep, that's the signal we're getting from our producer. So we'll take a short break here and getting ready for more lacrosse action after the quick break. You're watching NC State Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television. Coming to the out of the NC State timeout. As time continues to dwindle down in the second half. Score NC State 4, South Florida 4. Jeff Williams has the most recent goal, ending the 3 unanswered goal scoring streak of South Florida. If NC State wants to make a move and gain full momentum before halftime, well, this is the point where they're going to have to do it. They'll start by playing things down low. Adam Johnson has re-entered the game as he possesses here. Move back. NC State holding here. Williams cycles all the way across. Miller-Barber chipping this one down low. Johnson cycles for Loria. He'll send that one back down low. NC State and caught up. Trap defense, pulled free by the Wolfpack. They could have numbers going forward if they hurry. Trying to move something back toward the net. Right up top. Away they go. Peters shoots one. He rang it off the bar. Trent Abel got a piece of that with the frame of his stick. And that prevents it from going in. And I believe we had a flag in the back play here. 30 seconds shorthanded is what the officials have signaled for South Florida, so even more chances for NC State. Johnson will set up behind. Peters immediately goes back for Adam Johnson. Now moved across. Devin Peters again. Barber onto the outside now. Loria going again. Barber, wicked wrister, and that one stopped by Trent Abel. And I tell you, we've talked about Wallenfels a lot. But quite honestly, I don't think you can overlook Trent Abel as well. He's been right there and stopping practically everything that NC State's thrown at him. Keep in mind, you're looking at about the same score in the last loss for South Florida to East Carolina. They dropped it yesterday 10-8, and that's about the scoring frame we're looking at here with another half to play. South Florida now holds. Moved around to the outside. They'll control a little bit more here, trying to duck things right back down low. Wallenfels is set up at the center once again. They have taken fielding out of the game for the time being. Move back, Galuppi will let this one roll out. NC State will have possession. Time will dwindle down here. Move quickly up and forward. State will hold. Adam Johnson takes a couple of gallop steps forward, moves it back on for Miller Barber now. The mid-sized midfielder, Barber, moves it across the way for Adam Johnson. Bobbled it for the time being, finds it, and moves it back for Williams. Williams assessing the situation across the way for Loria. And he will hold. Walking and looking. Takes a slap right on the wrist. Pulled back free. State cycles to the point once again. Solid passing here. Peters sending that one across. Ebling in trouble, kicked free, and away goes South Florida. The Bulls quickly right back up the field. It'll be stop, pop, and hold on time. Moved along by South Florida once again as they'll work on the very far side of the field. Bulls looking and looking some more, trying to find somebody to pass to. They'll work right back behind. Wallenfels finds a teammate. Back up top, Wallenfels winds up, fires, and that one just did go wide. 30 seconds remaining in this second half is the word we're receiving from the scores table and both benches at the same time. And both sidelines warning their team just how much time is left, and they don't want to have it go blowing dead, especially in a tie ball game right now. Wallenfels sends this one, jumping one, shooting one. Good stop on the NC State netminder. Flung back out wide. There's another one. They scored! Will it count? Yes, it will! What a shot! A laser beam labeled up in the top corner, and it functions as a buzzer beater just as time expired. The goal will count, and South Florida will take the momentum into halftime as they lead NC State by a score of 5-4. An absolute rocket. We are setting up for an absolute barn burner of a second half here in Raleigh. Until then, both teams will step aside into their respective corners of the field to make the adjustments at halftime. The score at the end of the second quarter, South Florida 5, NC State 4. We'll be back with the second half. You're watching NC State Men's Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television, bringing you into the pack. Welcome back to Raleigh, ladies and gentlemen. Second half of this very intense lacrosse matchup is about to begin. South Florida leading the NC State Wolfpack by a count of 5-4 on essentially what functions as a buzzer beater, whistle beater goal. About a second remaining in the prior quarter. Draw will be set on this very balmy day of 38 degrees in Raleigh, North Carolina. Anything but ideal lacrosse weather, and the only thing we can say is it's not raining, thank goodness. Off the draw, NC State will try to pull it free. So we pulled along, and NC State will have the first possession of the second half. Jeff Williams holding here. Williams trying to dance off of his defender, and he's being very well defended. A couple of hacks up to the wrist, all legal, of course, in men's lacrosse. Wheeled around once again. Devin Peters sends it low. Adam Johnson now will hold. Outside to inside movement, pass right to the front, shooting, they scored! John Duncan ties it up in the very early stages of this second half, and NC State's off and running once again, 5-5. Superb passing as the halftime adjustments seem to have worked for NC State. As Duncan just took the initiative, weaves right in down low. Johnson finds him with a pass. And it's a slow roller that ends up beating Abel. We'll go right back up for center for the draw. Ball is set, both players on their knees. And it'll be a false start called against South Florida. NC State will have the ball. Moved up forward and now wide for Adam Johnson, who had to take a seat earlier due to an illegal stick. He finds Lauria now. Lauria dancing with it, holding, trying to go toward the front of the net. A shot stopped by Abel. The rebound is loose. The Wolfpack are able to grab it, but not before there's a flag thrown. And we will see shorthanded time coming up here quickly. The penalty will go against South Florida. Real opportunity coming for NC State here as they can take the lead once again. And I would imagine that as we head down into the later stages of this game, if State is able to take the lead, they're going to be more apt to hold it this time. You see them lining up in the center, and the State players in your screen right now. Duncan 17, Johnson 20, Peters 3. Setups have been made. South Florida faithful encouraging their team. NC State waits in angst and anticipation, and is this going to be pulled off? Now we got the Wolfpack. Barber moves that one across for his teammate. This will be chipped down low for Lauria. Lauria working right back and around behind the net. A little chip play across the way. Pulled free. Could be a chance for the Wolfpack. They'll opt to chip it right back down low. Lauria trading places for the time being, trying to move his way free. Falls on the slick turf. Ball is loose, scooped around. Peters right on top of it. Duncan there to help. NC State survives that scare. Peters works it out wide now. It'll be held here. Onto the point. Moved along once again, Miller Barber. Holding here. Dances across. They'll move low for Johnson. Johnson works out wide. Beats the long stick midfielders. Extended reach. Moved across once again. There's a long shot toward Abel, who's got it, and they score on the rebound! NC State puts it in! I believe it was Johnson who had the last tip right there. And NC State's going to go back up 6-5. Spectacular offense as NC State has opened up firing on all cylinders. They have not only eschewed the deficit, but have now taken the lead for themselves. So we go right back up to midfield. NC State looks to continue on the attack. And away they go. South Florida trying to get after it for the draw. NC State looking to scoop it up. As the battle continues, the Wolfpack have it and lost it. State going right back after it. They are able to secure it off the ground ball. Move quickly forward. Could be an opportunity here. Another shot. They scored! What a shot! Straight on the way through. The laser beam goes in. NC State goes right back up a deuce. Oh, that was simply a spectacular shot right there. Unbelievable play by NC State. State continues to pound on offense. And that was Cole Deaver who will get accreditation for the goal on an absolutely beautiful shot. Deaver had to go right back in after the draw. Was poked forward by South Florida. NC State back on defense. They've got it. And Deaver's been somebody that we have seen touch the ball. Haven't called his name a whole lot. Is now some more physical play down low. NC State was going to be the team to go shorthanded here. 7-5 for the Wolfpack, as now South Florida will have their turn to try to control the pace of play and at least get something offensively going. They've been back on their heels for the entirety of the still young third quarter. This one lifted back. They'll play pitch and catch. Galuppi trying to move that one across the way. Taken and stolen free. NC State right after it. South Florida scooped it. They touched it last. NC State's going to have it on the good defensive possession. And the walls of Jericho are falling for South Florida. This one's going to go right back onto the netminder. Pulled free by NC State as they'll try to move it up quickly. Great move by the Wolfpack. And away they go, straight across the midfield line. They'll try to step up and forward. And they'll wisely waste a little bit of time waiting for the shorthanded period to expire. Drop back along. Loria holding the ball here. He'll move this one back. He's got Johnson on the far side. Loria will hold, trying to cut his way back toward the front of the net. Loria shakes off his man, trading places, now gives to Adam Johnson. He'll steer that one along once again. Pressure being applied by South Florida. State going after it. Williams ducking his way toward the net. Williams trying to get a shot up. Passes Johnson, shooting one. He scores! Adam Johnson on the tic-tac-toe passing. And NC State's up a field goal. And the South Florida Bulls have no earthly idea what has hit them at the beginning of this second half, and wisely they're going to take the timeout. And the red and white are more than thrilled with this performance in these first 4 or 5 minutes of this half. 4 unanswered goals by NC State. They've doubled their total for the game as they are up 8-5. As they take a break on the field, we're going to take a break with them. NC State has come out with a vengeance. They're up 8-5 on South Florida. Timeout Bulls. You're watching NC State Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television. Welcome back to Raleigh. NC State holding an 8-5 lead over the South Florida Bulls in men's lacrosse. It was all green and gold going into the second half as they had the momentum on the time clock beating goal. However, NC State has scored the 4 since, and that's given them the 3 tally advantage. State will shrink their rosters, taking out some of the bigger names for the time being. Face off up at center here as the officials will watch closely. Pulled free as Deaver wins yet another one. You really can't say enough about what that means. That's one of the ways you build momentum in lacrosse. Hacks and whacks right there on the wrist and onto the stick. On the defensive line now. NC State will look to at least try to move something up and forward. And so they will, just by simple foot movement that time. Speed of NC State has been a little bit difficult for South Florida to handle. Got Jeff Williams back behind. Trying to move it back for Loria. Nope, they're going to opt to go straight toward the net. He scored! Will it count, though? No, it will not. South Florida will get the call on the foul, and they will take it, so that tally will not count from Williams. Score will remain 8-5. Little bouncer taken back. Adam Johnson getting physical. Wins the ball. Johnson passing across. Looking in front. Shooting one. They scored! Loria cuts himself free of everybody. Johnson finds him. 9-5 for the Wolfpack. State continues to drop the hammer on South Florida. Now that's 5 unanswered. And the Bulls need to find some way to respond and quickly. And they've got some of their top offensive players out there at that, but they can't get Wallenfelds or anybody else the ball, then all hope may be lost.
Let's put somebody else in, Coach!
State going after it again. Deaver wins it on the ground. Hack and whack time. Nearly an illegality, and I think they're finally going to call that on NC State. Poked free, and yep, they will. There's a whole lot of contact going right up through center, essentially where the draw took place. And I believe they're going to nail Michael Mastriani on that one. And Mastriani was a starter, has played limited minutes since then, just simply due to the success of Adam Johnson and Jeff Williams for that matter. Loria has played a good number of minutes as well, but Mastriani will step off on the shorthanded play. Doesn't seem to affect NC State as away they go. State, all sorts of contact through the middle. No penalty there. Hack and whack time. Move quickly forward by NC State. Trying to go coast to coast. They're going to drop it back, and wisely so. Intercepted by South Florida. There was a flag thrown back behind, so the shorthanded player for NC State will be nullified for the time being. That's something you're going to have to be careful of. Both teams can't afford to be frustrated if this game does become more of a blowout than it already is. However, you do have to recall in lacrosse, you can score fairly quickly. It's not as if it is as secure as a 4-goal lead in hockey would be, or a 4-run lead in baseball for that matter. All South Florida needs to do is really just string together a couple of solid offensive rushes and finish off their man-up opportunities. And if they're able to do that, they're going to insert themselves right back into the contest. If they're not, however, NC State could be well on their way to running back to campus with a 3-0 record. State will control. NC State will go a man up once more. Onto the back, Miller-Barber finding Jeff Williams. He'll move this one across. Could be another opportunity for NC State as they'll weave back up top for Barber. Quick touch play. They'll send it low once again. Up at the top, Lauria finding Barber. Barber walking, shooting one through traffic and wide. Good chance by Barber as now we're going to go back even. Here's another opportunity, shooting one in front. Not sure what it hit, but it didn't go in. Looked like Abel may have gotten something to it. He certainly ended up scooping it up and trying to spring the Bulls back forward. Moved all the way up, a lofted pass intercepted by NC State. That was a very ill-advised pass. It was so high, NC State was able to get 3 guys over to the ball. Could be another opportunity moving forward. Johnson, holding and looking, pours it onto the back. And at this point, State could really just afford to work it around the horn. They really don't have to take too many risks at all. They can play for essentially that perfect shot, and I think that's what they're going to try to do. And you give yourself that luxury when you are able to explode in on offense. It had been a very even matchup really throughout the entirety of the first half of this one. Another chance for NC State as they'll work behind the back play, and it goes wide. Lauria had a great opportunity as he walked himself through the slot. Still was not quite able to convert. Some more passing for NC State. All sorts of footwork, hack and whack time. The ball is still loose. South Florida trying to scoop it up. Ball still on the turf. Pulled free by Adam Johnson. Johnson, away he goes. Adam Johnson making a beeline toward the net now, shooting one, and he just missed it wide. I think that may have hit off of the cleat of Abel. Adam Johnson has been surging to life throughout the entirety of this half. Chance going right back in front. South Florida will take it. NC State being encouraged by their coaching staff to pick their man up on defense. And at this point, it's about the completion effort for NC State. Granted, we are still in the third quarter, but State's going to want to finish this one strong. Ball finally comes back up and across midfield in possession of South Florida, something they have yet to do this half, really. Moved around and pulled free. Wallenfeld's holding. And the South Florida Bulls are really hearing it from the NC State bench. And partially, that's because of Devin Peters' superb defense, keeping up with the much larger Wallenfelds. Turnover as NC State will take it back once again. Move quickly up and forward. Taking ahead, some more body contact. South Florida reaching after it. They finally got it with numbers. Whistle is going to be blown here. And I believe they're going to give the ball to NC State. They will. No shorthanded time off of that one, though. Lauria dancing, trying to find somebody to pass to. Lauria took a shot up high. All legal. NC State still holding it. Scoop back on. Deaver getting it again here. Deaver's got an absolute rocket of a shot. He's going to opt to lift that one back for Williams. Trying to cut himself free. Williams in trouble. All sorts of contact going on. Trying to pull it in toward a scoring area. Another ground ball. NC State going after it. Pushing and shoving. There will be nothing called there. Williams scoops it up for the Wolfpack. State's going to opt to roll it around the horn once again. Williams eluding his man, going in toward the front. A little bouncer Lauria reached out for it, wasn't able to get up to it. Lauria on his second effort, trying to get the ground ball. And he will not on that particular effort. South Florida's turn to go back. South Florida just has not been as crisp in their passing over the course of this second half after really a superb effort in the first half. Whistle blows, it's out of bounds. Here we go, opportunity for NC State, they scored again! Abel was caught drastically out of position trying to intercept the pass on the out-of-bounds play. NC State with the presence of mind to move it back quickly. And State is doubling up the Bulls right now, 10-5. Williams with the last goal. Not sure what Abel was thinking there, unless he was trying to get back out and intercept that pass. Not tending to the goal as closely as anybody would have liked. The green and gold are on dire straits right now. And we will have a hold up here. Not sure what it's for, unless it's a medical issue, which it seems it may be. It looked like one of the NC State players may have gone down. I cannot tell you who it is from this distance, though, as one of the medical trainers seems to be trying to make his way over. Hauled along once again, whistle blows. It'll be South Florida ball on that particular illegality. Wallenfelds will let this one go. 10-5, NC State leading the South Florida Bulls. South Florida has yet to score in this second half. Wallenfelds, the holding. He's got Galuppi down low, and he's going to try to do it himself. Pushed off, there's a long shot through traffic. Finally, they get something going. Galuppi cut himself free on the far side post. Wallenfelds finds him. 10-6 on the South Florida goal. Took him a while to confirm it. It did happen so quickly, like lightning, really. I think they were making sure that it hit the meshing and go in, and it did. So Galuppi has his second. So the Bulls are by no means out of it yet. We are in the third quarter, but NC State, if they can continue to pound away, should be able to secure a victory. And now, anybody who watches the NCAA level lacrosse should recall a game a couple of years ago between Johns Hopkins and Syracuse. Syracuse was up by 4 in the fourth. Johns Hopkins fought all the way back, actually took the lead with 8 seconds to go. Syracuse came back and scored to tie the game up at 8. The game goes into overtime, and in lacrosse, of course, it is sudden death. Johns Hopkins scored within the first 5 seconds of overtime to win that one. So anybody who surmises that lacrosse is not entertaining, especially when it gets up to be this high scoring of a contest, will be absolutely dead wrong. Granted, are we going to be in the lurch for another overtime game? I'm going to doubt it. But nonetheless, the excitement is there in this sport as it continues to grow on the rise in this country. Even so far as in this state. Moved along once again by NC State. They'll pull it back, a little bouncer taken by John Duncan. And even to assert the growth of lacrosse in North Carolina, there is a professional outdoor lacrosse team all the way down in the southern part of the state in Charlotte. The Charlotte Hounds continue to do things in the MLL. Free clear off the slash down low onto Trent Abel, so the Bulls will take it. So South Florida will take it away. Moved across, Galuppi, the ever dangerous it seems so far this game. Wallenfelds is set up inside. Pulled out by Fielding. Over across, Galuppi. Back again, just sent across the way by Granger. Taken down low. South Florida still trying to set something up onto the back. The pass is misfielded. NC State will hold possession. Coming right out from the sideline, it'll just be a speed play to move it up and forward. Ebling will take it here. He's just going to walk it down the line. Ebling sending it down low. NC State really getting some new faces out there, it seems now. Although there are still a couple of familiar ones. Ebling has been one of them. Played some good minutes in the first half of this one, now inserting himself back into the game. Jeff Williams was calling for the pass, not going to get it. All sorts of defensive contact. Whistle has blown. The extra hand was free. The hold will give South Florida possession. Taken up quickly. Trent Abel will look. And look some more. Abel just fires this one across up for Galuppi. It was poked out of his grasp. Ground ball filled by NC State. They lost it. A bouncer is pulled free by the Wolfpack. Some more contact. NC State going after it. Ebling leading the charge. Ebling pulled free. State going after it. They've got the numbers in the pile now. Eventually out of bounds. Whistle has blown here continually. And NC State will get possession. So NC State will get the beneficence of that call there. They are the beneficiary, at least. They'll take it out of bounds on the sideline. Moved along by the Wolfpack here. Ebling holding. Moving that one along once again. NC State holding. Up top for Ebling once again. Worked out wide for John Duncan. A couple of shimmy, shake, and bake moves back behind. Loria going toward the front. Pass in front. Could be a chance, and it's sent over the crossbar. Great opportunity attacking by Peters. Goes out of bounds. South Florida's turn. Whistle will blow as we're getting into the final stages of this third quarter. Pulled quickly ahead. South Florida quickly forward now with it. So they continue their setup efforts. They'll try to fling it wide. Good fake. Could be a chance for South Florida here as they've got some space to work with. Granger reaching out and after it. Working his way up to it. Winning the body positioning. He's got a couple of Wolfpackers behind him. Pulled free by Galuppi. Sent down low. Granger with room. Walking in. Granger passing low. Into the front again. The tic-tac-toe doesn't work. Here's another opportunity. Wellfalls had that one. Pulled out wide. Galuppi gives that one to the big man up in the midfield. All sorts of hacking and whacking going free. We will see the flag given. Illegality called against South Florida's big 33 once again. He's been there all game long. That time the slash was illegal. And Galuppi will have a couple of pieces of equipment to adjust, it looks like. As he will do that, the ball will move back across into the free clear area. So State will try to set it up. Really, Wellsvalls has been there all throughout the course of the game. His first mistake. But unfortunately for the Bulls, it gives NC State a golden opportunity here to go back up by 5. Loria works around the outside. This will be chipped up to the top. Barber sending it low. Loria once again. Now the normals are out there for NC State. Adam Johnson's in the back once again, his traditional positioning. Taken up top by NC State. The shot tipped wide by Abel. And without Trent Abel, this game could very easily be 20-6. He's played very well. Peters flings it across. Barber, Johnson low. And moved onto the wing once again. Now up top. State content to cycle for the time being. Peters, on the outside. Peters ducking, shooting one. Great stop by Abel once again. He's able to cover the lower corners. Few seconds remaining here. Quick change play all the way up and forward. The home run pass nearly worked for South Florida. Intercepted by NC State. And away go the Wolfpack. Hacking and whacking, coming in from behind. Pass going back down low. Loria trying to work his way back to the front. Loria shooting one. Great stop by Abel again. That one hit right off the frame of his stick. South Florida will hold, and that is where the whistle is going to blow. And I believe they're going to call the quarter right there, and so they will, as time does expire right after the penalty whistle was blown. NC State roars to life to begin this second half, scoring 5 unanswered. South Florida was able to finally get one in the latter stages of the third quarter, and that brings us to a score of NC State 10, South Florida 6. We'll be back with the fourth quarter. You're watching NC State Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television. Back at center for the final opening draw. NC State 10, South Florida 6 from the Method Road Fields here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Maybe a half mile off of NC State's campus. Very, very few clouds have creeped up and into the sky throughout the course of this game. Temperature has risen ever so slightly. I believe we may have nicked 41. Nonetheless, sunny day, beautiful day. Sight lines are perfect. South Florida will have it for the opening of this fourth quarter. And granted, it's not just a step to climb. It's not a game within one shot, but South Florida is by no means out of it. Wallenfelds holding it here. Wallenfelds ducks his head toward the net. Away he goes, shooting one! Not sure if that was tipped by any of the NC State defenders on the way through. Nonetheless, it is going to be controlled by South Florida. All sorts of hound dogging pressure going on back behind here. Pulled free. Wide of South Florida. Ground ball loose again. NC State's got it with numbers forward. Here come the Wolfpack. Quickly driving, looking. Pass across. Into the front again. Another one down low. Good converging defense by South Florida. Simply a spectacular defensive effort right there. Marciani sends that one across. Now it's Cole Deaver with it. And Deaver will wisely alleviate some pressure. Johnson flings that one across the way. Pop back up. Ebling will make his way into the contest once again in relief of Cole Deaver. Moved up at the point, Ebling. Sending it across once again. Now Jeff Williams onto it. Pardon, it's Devin Peters. Drops it back for Duncan. Now in front, Ebling. Shooting one! He missed it by a mile high. Flung that one with a vengeance, mind you, but was unable to hit the net. Pass across the way again. Moved up. Peters. All the way out now, Johnson. Sends it down low. Loria dancing, trying to cut himself free. All sorts of hacking and whacking going on. Finally pulled out and free. Cross the way again. Duncan ducking, shooting one. He rang it off the goalpost. And that's going to roll out of bounds. State will hold. South Florida in bad need of a forced turnover if they can get one here and soon. Ebling moves that one back. Devin Peters will hold once again. State will try to wind some clock here, it seems. Right up near the goalpost again. Parallel with it, spinning toward the front of the net. They'll yank it free. Stick knocked out of a hand. Moved up quickly forward. Who's going to get it? It'll be South Florida on the forced turnover. Simply outstanding defensive set by South Florida. The Bulls will move it up. Pass intercepted. It looks off or not. No! Pulled back by the Bulls. They'll battle right up at midfield for it. NC State pulls it free, so the defensive effort is for naught for now. All the way back down low. Another ground ball and a foot race for it. NC State will win it, trying to keep it in bounds. Ends up being a turnover. South Florida grabs it. So the Bulls sensing the urgency. This one flung forward, intercepted by NC State. What a stick by Williams on the way through. He's got room. Williams on his way through, scoops that one across the way. Could be a chance for NC State. Fling it toward the net. Great stop by Abel.
Good job, Hobbs!
Unreal goaltending. So South Florida's turn on a couple of scares there. They have dodged the bullet, at least for the time being. All sorts of hacking and whacking. A lot of pressure. We are going to see the flag thrown here. Free possession for the Bulls.
We got a free shot. Let's go!
They'll spin free. Another flag is out. Some more hacking and whacking picked up by NC State. There will be some shorthanded time. A minute on the slash is the call. That'll go against Marciani, I believe. However, there will also be another one to carry. Minute extra will be added. NC State still goes the man down. This will be, for now, 2 minutes.
2 minutes left in the game?
2-minute man down period for the Wolfpack, as they're going to need to find some way to escape here.
Let's go, D! We need some goals!
Whistle is blown. NC State is going to have to fight to try to keep this lead as large as it is, at least for now. Welland Falls sending that one right back down low. Moved across once again, pass in front. Welland Falls spinning, trying to get something off. Galuppi lost it. Pulled back by the Wolfpack, set up high. Another ground ball is loose. Pulled free. South Florida after it. Diving play by the Wolfpack. Duncan wasn't able to reach it himself, but Adam Johnson's got it. Johnson with speed and short-handed for that matter. And he's just going to work his way out wide. Smart play by Adam Johnson, and what an effort it was by NC State on defense. Duncan will duck low again. Johnson will hold. Johnson being hound dog, they'll try to scoop it out of his stick. Johnson now for Devin Peters. He'll just opt to take a look. Peters working out wide, trying to avoid the slashing. Holding Peters, working his way out wide. Moved up once again. State trying to just hold and work around the perimeter. Looked like they may have been free for a possible shot opportunity there. They were a ways out. Devin Peters.
Pressure the ball!
Hack and whack time by the LSM. Moved in quickly. Peters dropping. Johnson shooting. He scores! Adam Johnson sends it over Abel's shoulder, and NC State's back up a 5 spot. 11-6 for the Wolfpack. And that may be the final nail in the coffin. South Florida is going to have to work and work quickly to get themselves back into this one. And really, Adam Johnson's going to be the finisher there, but a good job by NC State forcing the turnover, moving the ball around with speed and finesse, and up to the point to give themselves a shorthanded scoring opportunity. And that's exactly what they were able to do. One forward by NC State off the draw. Cole Deaver sends that one across the way. Drop back along. Deaver's going to be the one to hold. Short-handed time really starting to tick after the man down goal. Deaver hacked from behind by his number opposite. Deaver cutting himself free again. All sorts of hacking and whacking right up on the wrists.
Double the ball!
Pulled free. South Florida still single coverage onto the ball. State really working themselves free now. Fake pass, good deke. Right now it's just been an absolute clinic by NC State in keep away. They'll circle the wagons, going the opposite direction. State coaching staff very keen on just trying to keep the ball away from South Florida right now. Big check laid back behind. The ball is out of bounds. And before it was released from the stick, it'll be South Florida's possession. Quickly up and forward, Trent Abel lugging the big goal stick. Moving that one forward. The Bulls trying to pull it free. Big hit right up through center. That's going to be called an illegality. He dropped him like a sack of hammers. Unfortunately, it's all for naught. What a hit. South Florida will have possession in the free clear area. So it will be the Bulls coming well across the midfield line. That was an absolute bell ringer. Clock cleaner, however you want to say it, but it will not matter for any real amount of time on that illegal hit. Waiting for the quick setup here by South Florida. You see on the screen Welland Falls bringing that one forward. He'll opt just to chip it down low. Welland Falls getting it again. Pulls it down low, shot across and wide. South Florida will hold. Of course, that's one of the little intricacies of lacrosse. You miss a shot on the net, it goes out of bounds. It's really not that big a deal because you will get possession. Has to be a forced turnover or an illegality for possession to switch. Another flag goes sailing here. This one's going to go against NC State. Free possession for South Florida as they try to work their way in front. Great converging defense by NC State. But once again, it is a foul against the Wolfpack. And the Bulls will hold possession. Quick little shorthanded stint for NC State is what it appears it's going to be. Whistle blows, we're ready for play here. Comes off the line, State trying to pull it back, it'll stay inside. NC State, good defense thus far as this one will drift all the way back behind. Right onto the sideline, South Florida will maintain possession. Pass right through the way, Welland Falls chasing it down. And he's got it. Picked up, Welland Falls sends that one across the way. All the way back down low, Galuppi holding, trading places with Fielding up top. Welland Falls holding, jumping, shooting, what a bouncer! Great stop by NC State. Marcelani with a save. He'll just pass it across the way. Marciani carries this one ahead. Set all the way up through. We're going to see another illegality. It's going to be a free possession for NC State now. Here come the Wolfpack. Through the way. Shooting one right off the goalpost. State still holds possession. Nope, they don't. Overran the ball. South Florida going after it. State pulls it right back down. Marciani onto it. Michael Marciani holding. Flings that one up and over. It'll be the Wolfpack now. Sent back on to the midfield line, and now they'll move it back up toward attack. They'll walk for a moment. Pulled out free. State cycles up to the point. Ebeling. Looking, gets by his man, took a shot up near the chest. All good. Ebeling shooting one. He missed the net wide. And that will go out. Flag is down. And it will be picked up on the missed shot. So there's your State free play. Quick shorthanded time for South Florida. NC State will go back to grab it. Another goal for NC State, and they would double up South Florida by 12-6. Nonetheless, it's been an impressive effort either way. So we're a little further than midway through this fourth quarter. And drop back. Now moved along for John Duncan. Puts it up to the point. Peters holding and cycles across the way. Barber low and across the way. Johnson moving back toward the front of the net. Now it's John Duncan. Duncan will hold up to the top. Peters walking. Wisely drops it back. Williams sends it for Barber. Now passed along once more. Williams winds up. Catapults that one right back down low. The goaltender's way out of his net to get it. Great diving play by Duncan. Empty net. Everybody converging. Johnson shooting, and he missed it. Had the wide open net and couldn't finish. Dangerous play by Trent Abel as he tried to track it down to force the turnover for himself, and he got caught doing that earlier in the game, back in the third quarter, and that ended up giving State their 10th tally, and that was also Johnson who made him pay there. Johnson in front again, trying to score. Had it hacked out of his stick from behind. That one going off the side of the goal. State's ball. Even strength play resumes. Played up here. Peters flings it up to the point. Barber chips it across the way. Now they'll go right back behind. Johnson faking and sends that one across. Moved over for Devin Peters now. He'll cycle across the way. Miller Barber all the way over. Sent low. Johnson holding. He's got a couple of teammates dropping right back down low for him. Moved across. Could be a chance here. Williams trading places. Johnson. Shimmy, shake, and bake move. Cuts free of his man. Drops it into a scoring area. Push from behind. A flag's up. And even though South Florida was off and running with that one, it is going to be a push from behind. And that is where the South Florida run will stop, and stop quickly, for that matter. Clayton Blackwelder is in there for NC State now. He's taken Loria's spot, and I believe Loria may have been the one to have taken the hard fall. Of course, Blackwelder marked by the 7 uniform. He's been the one pulling double duty down low behind the net with Williams and very occasionally now Adam Johnson, who's moved up to more of a wing attack position. Deaver sending it down low. Worked out wide by Barber. Up to the top. Williams sends that one across the way. Peters back for Williams. Across. Barber looking and holding. Sends that one down. Blackwelder sends that one across the way once again. Now he's got it down low. Cole Deaver scooping it up, trying to spin back toward the net. Deaver shooting one. Bouncer scored. Oh, what a play! He had a man on his back and he wore him into the back of net. Cole Deaver is second of the game, and it's 12-6 NC State, doubling up South Florida. Absolutely stupendous job by this offense really throughout the course of this game. But it is shown through in particular in the second half. Draw back up at center now. Both players will go down to one knee and the ball will be set here momentarily. And the ball set off the draw. NC State wins it relatively cleanly at least. Catapulted forward. NC State will move it back and pushed along quickly. Blackwelder just sending it down low now. Moved around once again. State getting a whole new look for their roster. Moved up once again. And when you're able to do this in this sort of stage of the game, you know that your team is given quite truly a full game effort. And your quintessential backups are more than grateful to get their playing time and their minutes. Ebling and Blackwelder are the ones out there who have seen playing time at a maximum before. And they'll just pull it around. State was also able to defeat ACC rival Wake Forest in their previous contest, despite that one being a little bit more of a dogfight than it should have been. South Florida is not done for the weekend. Their next game will be against Western Michigan. The Broncos are certainly going to be willing to give the Bulls a run for their money. On the back, shimmy, shake, and bake move. Quick pull toward the front of the net. State looking perhaps for one more. Lifted back up into a danger area, up towards center. Hack and whack time, and reaching across the line was one of the state defenders. So it's South Florida ball. 2 minutes is the call from the scorer's table right now. And that would be how much time's remaining in this contest. That'll be pulled free once again. Taken along back behind. South Florida trapping some more. And they'll pull it out free, and now really you're not going to see much from South Florida except for any sort of sellout offense. Bulls going right after it here. Back behind the net, Brian fielding. Sent along. Held by South Florida. State pressuring here. Another turnover, and that would most certainly seal the deal. State will be content just to try to run some clock. And that'll be a push against NC State in the late stage of this game. South Florida will have it in the free clear area. Moved down low by the Bulls. And really, you can't fault them. They have played, at least in the first half especially, a very solid lacrosse match. NC State, just as a rule, has been that much stronger, that much faster, and South Florida did make a few ill-advised passes right up through center early on in this half, and that spelled the detriment of them. Marciani just opting to chip it down low. State will play some pitch and catch. This is Blackwelder once again. And you wonder, I mean, yes, this is club level, but is State's club lacrosse team as good as, say, their club hockey team? Well, the answer would be yes. They're always a constant threat, especially in a competitive ACC region. And the team that's going to give them the most run for their money is going to be Florida State. And NC State did have to go all the way back down to Tallahassee last year to win that one. And speaking of wins, as the whistle sounds here, that will be another one in NC State's book. They will remain undefeated for the season, advancing to 3-0, as they will send South Florida packing with their second loss of the weekend. It's a big win for the Wolfpack by a final count of 12-6. And without a doubt, if you look, it's a full team win, but Adam Johnson continued to impress throughout the entirety of the match. Had a couple of goals to his name as well as 3 assists to go with it. He's going to be our man of the match here. As the teams will shake hands, we will remind you that the next broadcast up for Wolfpack Sports Television will be tomorrow afternoon as the NC State softball team opens up ACC play against number 23 Notre Dame from the Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium. We hope you will join us for that one. Until then, signing off for the rest of our broadcast crew, I'm Drew Blevins. The final score of this one, the NC State Wolfpack 12, the South Florida Bulls 6. Thank you for watching NC State Men's Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television, bringing you into the pack. Have a lovely weekend. Down here with head coach Chris Demarest after the big win for NC State. Coach, huge win. The offensive explosion in the third quarter seemed to be the key to victory. Talk about that a little bit. Yeah, we had a couple guys who just needed to calm down, get their game together, and came out and just started going hard to the goal. We got a young attack this year, so, again, just settling down, playing our game, and that's, we're able to stick 8 in the second half. So many opportunities going down the stretch, even in the first half, but Trent Abel in the South Florida net seemed to keep a lot of things out. What was the key to being able to solve him?
Our big one was we were basically giving him the saves. We were shooting right into his chest, and once we started putting the ball on the ground and really just trying to drill it close, stop trying to shoot from 10, 12 yards, it seemed to turn into a lot of goals.
It's a big win today, doubling up South Florida, but as you mentioned off the camera, the big one comes tonight against Western Michigan. What's going to be the key to beating them?
Yeah, Western Michigan's got a really big defense. We've got to really move the ball, keep it hot, and coming off a game, just 2.5 hours rest is going to be tough. So we're hoping we can gas up. Guys are going to go over, grab some food, get some drinks, and go back. Hopefully we can take them at 7.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Best of luck tonight.
Thanks a lot.
That's the winning coach from NC State. Thanks for watching NC State Lacrosse on Wolfpack Sports Television.